Hello everyone, this is Javamonk, and welcome to episode 71 of the Survival Series. So, last episode, and also the two episodes before that, we were working with villagers. And I kind of had enough of those guys. So, instead, we're going to focus on a totally different project this episode, one that doesn't involve mobs, not really anyways, and it is out in the far reaches of our world here. Welcome to the Ice Plains Spikes. Our mansion is off that away. We discovered this place back in episode 24. Well, actually, maybe even earlier than that. But this Ice Plains Spikes also happens to have the entrance to a stronghold, which is pretty rare. But we're not focusing on the stronghold. We are focusing on this. Well, we're focusing on this. This pathetic excuse of an ice farm. I mean, sure, it produces some ice, and if you're building a bunch of water streams, then this'll work as a stackable way to get water. But here's the thing. We're in 1.13 now, and ice can craft things, such as packed ice and blue ice. So, here's the goal. I want it so that at some point, every single water stream that we have going to the mansion is made out of blue ice. Every single boat highway is made out of blue ice. And in order to... So, here, let me just get 2 more pieces of ice here. Let me just show you just how dire the situation is, because check this out. We have a stack and 17 ice here, so that crafts into 1 piece of blue ice. And some of the boat highways we have through the Nether are tens of thousands of blocks long. So if we're building a boat highway using blue ice, this is not going to work. Even if I mine down the entire Ice Plains Spikes here, it's still probably not going to be sufficient. We need an efficient, renewable way to get ice. And also, I like the Ice Plains Spikes. I don't want to mine it down. So we're instead going to expand the ice farm and make it, well, usable. And we're gonna completely revamp this ice farm and make it actually efficient enough where we can build gigantic highways for boats out of ice, and also water streams. Say goodbye to the old ice farm. So I basically just removed the roof that would ordinarily let the water just flow back in, and instead I just have I just let the water freeze over, and now I can just mine it all down. So we can just completely tear this whole thing out and swap it out with something new and improved. So this new and improved ice farm design was developed by, guess what, Ilmango. So his design, it's advertised to work in 1.11, but based on what I've seen in the video, there's no reason for it not to work in 1.13. So the way it works is it basically moves a bunch of armor stands with Frostwalker onto a sheet of water, or kind of a pan of water. Now, when the ice generates on the side of blocks, so by having the frosted ice there, some of the water has a chance to freeze next to the frosted ice. So when the frosted ice melts, you just have pockets of ice where more ice can generate nearby. And that significantly speeds up the ice making process, and therefore it makes the farm super duper efficient. And the cool part is it does that whole understand moving mechanism thing. It does that in the just as the sun is rising. So ultimately the armor stands make it, but and all the frosted ice freezes pretty much instantly. So, well, the frosted ice melts pretty quickly. Now oh, dolphin. The cool part is, because we now have a villager trading hall, the frosted ice is actually going to be the easy part. The hard part is really going to be building the mechanism and actually building the ice farm large enough to actually supply all the ice that we actually need. So I'm going to build Ilmango's ice farm exactly the way he does it in the video. No modifications, no weird stuff, and this way it's pretty much guaranteed to work, I think. Unless, of course, it's broken in 1.13, in which case we're going to have to figure out something else. Hopefully it's not broken. Now, the ice pan here from Ilmango's design is a size of 85 by 48. So, in this case, it's important that the whole pan is actually in some sort of frozen biome, otherwise it's not going to be all that efficient or fast. So in this case, I think the 48 wide should go this way, and the 85 wide should go this way. Because here we have a lot more space, and also I can clear out some of these ice spikes to make room for the ice farm. Lots of ice around. And it looks like these rabbits are actually attracted by my golden carrots. Yeah. Cool. Okay, now we got some baby rabbits, and I think that added to the advancement here. Yeah, so now we only have 2 more animals that we gotta figure out how to breed. One of which is horses, because I still haven't figured out how to breed horses. But anyways, let's build out this ice pan, 85 by 48. Here we go. And here we are. Flattened quite a few ice spikes here, but there's a pretty big problem, and that is the gigantic shadow cast underneath this platform. We'll burn that bridge when we get there. But first off, we gotta actually now place in the ice farm. Or at least the ice for the ice farm. And before we do that, we need to place in the walls to make sure that the ice or the water doesn't escape. So, as for what I'm going to build the walls and the perimeter out of, I'm thinking building it out of some sort of glass. I'll go back to the bulk storage and see what kind of glass seems to be most common in the... Well, actually, I think I'm going to build it out of dark oak, because I have tons of dark oak back at the base. I'm now in the point of building this ice farm where there's a lot of repetitiveness. So I gathered stacks upon stacks of leaves, and now so I have the perimeter walls, I have the indents over here for the actual water, or where the water that's not going to be frozen, that's where it's going to be. And then I'm just going to put in all the water, at which point I think I can then remove all of the just single spruce slabs here, and that way I can also tear down everything that's below there. I can just set up a conduit like in the ocean there somewhere, and then dig away. I should also probably bring a beacon with me, because this is starting to get a little bit of a... This is becoming a little bit of a headache. The leaves are in. Now it's time to actually bring in the water that will eventually freeze. So this just means for me it means pull out ice and also the fortune pick, the non-silk touch pick, and just place it along the edges, and then break it all with the fortune pick, and eventually you'll have a pan full of water. Man, having every resource at your fingertips is so much awesome. It's so awesome. Okay, quick things. First off, there's a phantom attacking me and actively trying to throw me off these bridges. And second, these packed ice bridges, I'm currently building them as we speak. I now have a beacon for Jump Boost 2, and also, as you can see with this thing over here, we now have a conduit nearby. And also, it is snowing like crazy, so it's probably very difficult to see what's going on. Whoa. Yikes. But anyways, we are still in the process of building this absolutely insane and humongous ice farm. So, I guess the next part after this is actually building up the flying machines, and then we actually got to get the armor stands with the Frostwalker. Okay, these phantoms are getting annoying. I'm going to craft a bed. In fact, I'm going to do that right now. Okay, we have 11 leather boots here that we can enchant with Frostwalker. So now, let's see just how quickly we can get all 11 of these Frostwalker boots. And I just remembered I need books, so I gotta riptide myself out of here and then get myself back in here. Get some books. So to trade with villagers, you need books and emeralds, and I got 15 blocks of emeralds. Hopefully that's enough to purchase 11 books, or 11 Frostwalker books. There we go. Bought 11 books with me. Let's get some Frostwalker on these. And now we have our 11 leather boots enchanted with Frostwalker 1 because that's what Ilmango recommended. So let's just equip all of these 11 armor stands with those Frostwalker boots, and we can get on with the rest of this ice farm, which I don't think is very much. It's just the flying machines to push down all of the ice that actually grew. And also the daylight detectors to actually send off these armor stands. Because you don't want these things to go off during daytime. That could seriously cause problems because the frosted ice right underneath the armor stands would end up melting. And that would cause all kinds of problems, as you've probably seen in episode 62, when I built an End Zamboni, or ice highway maker, and several times it just randomly failed and had the armor stands drop down. So, to prevent that, we're putting in a daylight detector. Okay, all of the ice pushers are now in place. So, next up, we just gotta add in these trap doors. And of course, I need immovable blocks. Crap! I put my obsidian away. Here we go. Some fireworks should help with that. Nope, too far. Okay. It's in here. There we go. So we have 24, I'm pretty sure it's 24 flying machines over here that are all going to be pushing the ice down once it forms. It's also going to trigger the mechanism to send the flying machines off on their way. And these delays here are built specifically to make sure the machines don't collide with each other, because that would be very bad. So let's see. Yep. Okay. So all we gotta do is just place trapdoors and obsidian. And then we can just continue on with this and then also power everything. And I think that powering everything is gonna end up requiring an instant repeater. Whoops. Uh-oh. I definitely did not want to be down here. Okay. Instant repeaters are cool. I never really understood how they work, but after watching a few videos by Ilmango, I've kind of figured it out. So first off, phantoms are not involved with building instant repeaters. Where'd it go? Ah, there it is. Okay, so let's just kill all these phantoms and there we go. Set them on fire, and there we go. Okay. Now, before I was so rudely interrupted, these instant repeaters. What basically happens, based on the way I understand it, which is probably not all that accurate, but it's the way I understand it. There's probably a better way to explain this. Signal comes through, and it powers this piston right here, which extends this block forwards. Now, when That's when this piston realizes it actually needs to be retracted, so it retracts, cutting off power from this, thus zero taking this piston. And then the redstone block ends up over here, thus powering this piston, bringing power back to this piston here, which keeps it extended, and then the power goes away, which then takes the redstone block back, and this piston thinks is bud powered because it thinks it should be powered when in fact it's not, thus automatically resetting. I hope that made sense, and I hope I was at least somewhat accurate with the explanation on what exactly an instant repeater is and does. So now so we have pretty much the entire system in place except for the daylight detecting. And that is the next step. Okay, here's a really awesome trick for placing redstone lines is... What? It doesn't work anymore? Okay, here's what you used to be able to do. You basically have redstone in one hand and a block in one hand and redstone in the other, and by just holding down right click, you would be placing the blocks and the redstone. But it looks like that is removed, which also means that probably the climbing up a ladder and placing it at the same time probably means that trick is also removed. Oh boy. So many small changes that I'm actually really, really not a fan of. Hold on. I heard a rumor that apparently anvils dropping on redstone no longer is a thing. You know what? Let me check up on that, actually. Okay, here we are in the test world. I'm just going to take an anvil and drop it on this redstone. Now, how it worked in 1.12 is you drop the anvil, it smashes the redstone and completely destroys it. That is actually how pretty much every Rube Goldberg machine I've ever built has one of these things in it where it launches an anvil and the anvil goes flying through the air and smashes a lever or something like that. And it's been really, really cool. Oh boy. Well, that breaks pretty much every Rube Goldberg machine I've ever built. And that really sucks. Why would they remove a feature like that? Seriously. Why would they remove something like that? So, anvils and I've noticed in the Adventure Map series that damage taken by falling anvils has been seriously decreased. So at this point, there's really no point in throwing anvils around, which really, really sucks. And once again, with contraptions this complex, I am consistently reminded just how much things like this resemble a mousetrap. Because seriously, if I accidentally powered that line right there, it would basically... all of those machines would find a way to crash into this beacon. So, first things first, before we continue with the next part of the redstone, which is apparently the daylight control system, then I gotta tear down this beacon because it's gonna cause problems otherwise. But once I do, then we can set this off all we want, and it's not going to cause any problems. Still, it's going to be a little bit stressful because waiting for those machines to come back is not going to be... well, those machines are not going to... they're not exactly the fastest things in the world. Especially when they have to cross 85 blocks. And according to Ilmango, this thing is now ready to go. All we need to do is just to light the place up, because otherwise, if a mob gets in the way of the frosted ice, then it could seriously mess with the mechanism, and actually cause the armor stands to drop down, which is pretty bad. So let's avoid that by lighting up, and also removing all these shulker boxes, because they are no longer necessary. And I definitely need more torches than that. And then, after that, we get to clear up all of the space underneath this ice farm. something I've been holding off from doing for mainly because I'm lazy, but now because I'm afraid of what I'll find down there. I know the mobs are they are quite nasty down there, I'm pretty sure. I've been hearing all sorts of things, so can't wait to see what I find. It's probably not much, though, because it's all covered in hills. Hey, the mob situation is actually not so bad. Compared to many other things, this situation is actually not that bad. And any creepers that explode here are only going to help me. So I might as well just run around here aggroing every single creeper I could possibly find, and hopefully not die as I try to desperately light this thing up. In fact, let's use the shield here. Alright, creeper, explode. Whoa. Okay, that was a double explosion. And of course my inventory is going to fill with snowballs, but that doesn't really matter. And I'm going to have snowball wielding zombies. Okay. Here we go. Time to light this whole place up and then also dig everything out so that way all the ice has room to expand, or room to drop down. At which point I can then light that part up, and then we'll be done. So let's just dig all this out. Quick camera count this perspective. We now have this entire spot hollowed out directly underneath where the ice would go. So now all that needs to happen is I need to dig out all of these spruce slabs that are currently holding the water in this pan, because it's going to mess with things. So these mobs will end up despawning eventually. And I don't know where this light is coming from. But yeah, we just got to remove the spruce slabs in this little indented area here. And now we have an ice farm complete. It is automatic. It is awesome. It stops itself after AFKing for about 4 hours because at that point the pistons can't push any further. And it is amazing. It even comes with a completely accidental bat cave entrance into the area where you can mine the ice down. So yeah, that's pretty cool. But anyways, I think that's gonna do it for this episode. Let's just pop up onto the surface. Hello? I'm rapidly getting trapped by this ice sheet here. Where's the... Let me out! Help! I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please let me know. This was quite the project to do in what was in real life actually 1 day. I had all of the resources prepared, but the actual building of this ice farm was 1 day. That's it. And considering that we built this entire thing in that time is amazing. So, thank you for watching, everyone. The sun is setting. I hope you enjoyed this. And I will see you hopefully next Saturday for episode 72. The episode 75 is going to be a special, the 3/4 special. So, I hope you enjoy, and I'll see you then.